Hi everyone, I'm Catherine, aka the High-Heeled Gamer, and I'm super excited because I have well, all my guests are special, but this one's actually a pretty cool guest in my heart and in my eyes.
Oh,
He's a very, very popular cosplayer. I had the honor to know him before he blew up, so I was able to see him just continue to grow and grow and grow and grow, and it definitely has been an honor. So please, everyone, welcome RJ.
thank you
Yay.
for that lovely introduction.
Yeah, I've been a big fan of yours since I don't even remember how I found you. I think you were
I was
underneath
thinking about
one.
that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a while actually. I think it was at the beginning of the pandemic, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think you were in my suggested videos, and I just was able to find you, follow you, and just watch you grow. And it's been like I mean it in the fondest way, an honor to watch from like sort of like the beginning to
Mm-hmm.
this massive hit that you are now, you know? Do you consider yourself a massive hit?
Not really. I forget because I still have my 40-hour week job, and then I'm like super tired, and I still have like all my life stuff. So like it's just like for me, it's like a very big. It's mostly an outlet that I just happen to like put a lot of work in. So I forget that like I see the numbers, but I just forget there's actual people that like me.
I know which cosplay it was or which video it was. It was the Spike, the beginning of Cowboy Bebop that you redid.
Oh yeah.
That was the video that I was either somebody sent it to me or it was suggested. I know I didn't find you like on my own type of thing.
Mhm.
And that's the video that I was like, "Oh my God, this is so dope." And like I shared it, I showed it to anyone that would listen. I'm like, "Look how cool this Spike is." Like it's so dope. Was that your first cosplay?
Yeah. Spike was my first one. He was supposed to be a joke. It was just during the pandemic. My hair grew out because like before this, I hated having anything like longer than like a really really short haircut. But I didn't go to the barber for like a whole year. Um, I just had some like old suit clothes laying around. I was like, what if I just post a little video and then it got like 10,000 views? I was like, what?
That is like so I mean all of your transitions, your After Effects work, it has always blown me away. And you know that because I've always made a point to let you know like wow, this is like super amazing. But that to me is my favorite. Well, one, I have a soft spot for Cowboy Bebop. Like it's one of my top three favorite animes
Yeah.
out there. So when I saw it, I was like, yo, this is like seriously on point. Like with that being your first cosplay, how long did all of that take for you to create that video?
So for that one, I want to say honestly, I can't remember. I just know it took me a while to learn all the lines and to like get the mannerisms right. Like it took me longer than it just took me a lot longer than people thought because I had a lot of takes. So yeah, I want to say a minimum of 1 to 2 hours filming, but practicing. I think practicing took longer because I was just so
Really?
picky about everything. Yeah.
Um, are you a perfectionist? Is that what it is?
Oh, yeah. I'm working on being less of one. I'm like a recovering perfectionist.
Recovering perfectionist. But you know what? A lot of cosplayers are or tend to be perfectionists because,
Mhm.
I've interviewed quite a few of them and they're always telling me about like mistakes and behind the scenes stuff. And I'm like, I didn't even notice that. And they're like, I noticed it. I knew it was there. So is that the
Yeah.
kind of stuff also that you like deal with within the making of your videos? Like, no, I know this is there. I need to fix this.
Yeah. I've been trying to work on remembering that even with my mistakes, people are gonna like it. Like actually just recently, I posted a video last week and it was a transition video with my friend Kai. And like her transition, it was just like it was flawless. It was awesome. It was a really difficult one to do. And when I was editing it, I'm like, ooh, that's really choppy. I was like, I don't want to post this. I was like, that's because like I knew what I wanted to do, I just couldn't do it. And I was like, I don't know. Then I was like, wait. remember, people will like it because you tried and it's still really good. And then I kind of got out of that moment. So it's better than it was like 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I would have just like given up.
Oh, wow. Wow.
hmm
So that has come a long way then from,
hmm
wanting to just scrap the whole thing to actually putting it out there. One
Yeah.
of the things I definitely commend you, and there are a couple of other cosplayers that have gone into this niche as well, is the behind the scenes stuff.
Mhm.
That's fascinating because it paints you in a more relatable, way where I think one of the ones that I laughed at the hardest was you were trying to practice a kick and you hit your lamp and the
Uh,
lamp broke and you were like, "Well, time to get a new
yep.
lamp." What made you decide to start posting like behind the scenes like bloopers and just realistic aspects of cosplaying and video editing?
So before cosplay, I did a lot of different types of videos, and I used to vlog. And back then, vlogging was a lot harder for me, and I also had like a worse turnout. So I would spend like 2 weeks playing a whole video, only for it to get like 12 views. I was like, hmm. So I kind of stopped, and then I found like Snapchat, and then Instagram Stories came out, and Instagram Stories kind of became my little like mini vlog. So I didn't have to edit anything. I didn't have to like make it professional. I just kind of spoke my mind.
Okay.
And then I used to like never check who saw my stories. And then one day I randomly just like I think I accidentally clicked and saw like people like it was like over 100 people saw like something I said about my cosplay and people started commenting on it. I was like, oh wait, people actually look at those. um and so I started to really enjoy like the back and forth of not only just like saying random stuff, but showing what actually goes into cosplay and how it's not just like something that I just easily do all the time. It's something I like methodically do. It's something that has a lot of work and energy. It's something that has a lot of errors that you have to work with.
And that's what I like because a lot of the times I'm not professional cosplayer. I dabble in it. I love the art craft behind it. And I love the professionals like yourself that go, above and beyond and actually make it so entertaining for the rest of us. And I just like because sometimes I get lost in the fact that, you guys are humans too. You guys make errors as well. And when I say you guys, I mean like the professionals. So I do appreciate that it's not a just you took one take, you knew everything that was gonna do, you hit all your marks. I do like the realistic nature of the behind the scenes, especially with you, because you tend to post, I broke this and this is what
Yeah.
happened. And like I dropped this, I think it was that you had the cigarette in backwards at one time
Oh
in one of
yeah.
your
Oh yeah.
yeah, so I do appreciate that a lot. And I think it helps other people too. It helps them realize that n- what you see in front of you is not necessarily how smoothly it went. And it
Mhm.
also puts into perspective the time and effort that you do take throughout your day to make these videos for to entertain us. Um, do you plan out these videos in advance, or is it when you feel the, inspiration to do them?
Most of the time, I have a little bit of planning. My time management is well, my time management I think is still decent. Like in my head, I'm like, oh, it's so bad. But when I think about it, I'm like, okay, it's okay. Like I remember I used to like plan out like a week in advance, but I was also making a lot less videos. So that way when it came to filming time, it was just like boom, boom, boom. Now I'm doing so much that sometimes it's kind of like I'll think about that week in advance and then like kind of closer to the day or day before, I'll still plan out the video. So I'll write out the things I want to do, um, and I'll find the music. So for most of my videos, unless they're like a duet, I have to plan it because there's no way like any of that would like happen if I just did it.
Did it on the fly?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the duets, do you tend to only duet your friends, or is it whoever you're like, "Oh, that motivated me. I want to duet this." How do you decide who you get to duet with?
Yeah. So that's actually a good question. Recently I duetted like 5 or so friends, maybe like 10 to 13 videos. Um I think I favor duetting my friends partly because like they just show up in my FYP and I'm comfortable with like boundaries, like knowing what they don't and do like. And we just happen to have like the same goals and we like communicate. When it's strangers, I happen to see like less duettable content,
Okay.
um, or um, I think that's kind of it. Like sometimes I'll duet them. It just happens to be more my friends, but I used to duet like pretty much anything that I could. Yeah.
Okay. With the duetting and the cosplaying comes comments and,
hmm
you know, trolls. And for me, the way you handle it is so eloquently and so professional. I admire it because I'm two ways. I'm either petty or I just shut everything down and just cry in a corner.
hmm
So how do you how, explain to the people how you handle that and why you choose to handle it the way you do?
Hmm. Yeah. So trying to figure out how to make this kind of concise. So everyone sees me on the internet. They see me cosplaying. They see like this like happy, bubbly person. But behind that was like a lot of stuff that I went through, like growing up, like abuse, um, bullying, like online harassment. And then on top of that, I had like low self esteem, and then I had my like perfectionism. So as I was growing up and navigating all of that, I was like, I basically had a choice of either letting it all like destroy me or figuring out how to deal with it. And so I worked on my self confidence. I worked on like learning about people and learning about like why people do things. Like oftentimes insecurity. Um, and just learning about how to set boundaries, and then um, learning how to deal with hate, and like learning how like not everyone's gonna like you. So
Mhm.
that was like years of work. And so like right before the pandemic, I think was like kind of when I really found myself. So it was like good timing.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so now when I see hate comments, well, one, most of them aren't as bad as the stuff I went through in the past, unfortunately. So I'm like, whatever. But two, I just like I have that confidence and that knowledge to just kind of brush it off. I remember when I was like also getting into YouTube, I would watch a bunch of YouTubers, and they always talked about remembering to focus on the positive, because they know it's going to be hard when you see that one negative comment. You have like 100 positive comments. You have like one negative comment. You can be oh, but you have to remember like I'm a numbers person, so I'm like, oh yeah, it's just one person. Like I nailed that into my head. It's just one person, or it's just like 5 out of like 50. Like it's still I still have however many followers. I still have however many views. I'm
Mhm.
still good at what I do. Um, so yeah, it was just like all that, but taking the actual time to start understanding and believing those thoughts.
Yeah, because I see a lot of cosplayers, especially Black cosplayers, or cosplayers of color, and the comments like I know it sounds crazy to say because I don't officially know you guys, but it breaks my heart because I know the
Mhm,
time and effort that all of you have put into the craft and the showmanship to entertain us. Um, and then you get these comments and it breaks my heart. And then when you address a lot of them and I'm like, wow, he was like so like great about it, where I would have been like, cursing up a storm and just mad. And I admire
mhm.
that a lot. And um so for you, you feel like it just takes time to understand that there's always going to be trolls and self-reflection.
Yeah. But also that's just like that goes with like my personal journey. Because I have some friends who are probably just as confident, but they're still like they're gonna cuss them out regardless. Um, that's just how they choose to do it. Um, but just like I've found that oftentimes staying calm gets me what I want.
Mhm.
Um, because I right now I kind of have this thing where if I see a troll, especially a racist comment, I will kind of push, like when they say something, I'll reply with something that might like get them to respond. And I'll usually get one of three things. One, I figure out that they actually didn't know it, because sometimes it's like they're like under 18, they're from another country, or they just like didn't know. So like sometimes like you have people who genuinely apologize, and then
Oh,
that's it.
okay.
Two, I'll get someone who actually thinks it's funny. And I just kind of use that as like information to me. I'm like, okay, so people like actually think that's funny, and there's no way of changing their mind. Um, And I just kind of use that for like future, like I'm just like, okay, delete and blot. And
Mhm.
then three, sometimes there's this person who knows they're racist and they're just doing it to be whatever. And they think I won't do anything about it. And then sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'll put you on blast. Like everyone can see how racist you are. It's not my fault. Like if someone
Yeah.
tells you you're annoying or whatever, or you get your account like deleted. Either way, I'm not gonna invest. Like I'm not gonna like get sad about it. I'm not gonna let it ruin my day. I'm gonna let them ruin their day, and move on.
Wow, I love that. I'm gonna let them ruin their day. I like that. I like that a lot.
Thanks.
No, I'm gonna try to remember that myself. Not that I get a lot of hate or stuff like that, but just even, just a, personal thought of it, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
just let somebody else ruin their own day. Like, I have a lot of other positive things going on. I like that mentality of yours. Do you do that? Do you have that mentality outside of the online community as well? Is that like a mantra you live by?
Yeah. So, um, I think offline too. I'm kind of the same way. It depends. Like if I'm in like work situations, depending on the job, sometimes I have to be more passive just because it's like it's sketchy because like work is work.
Mhm.
Um, but like if I'm more comfortable if it's like outside of work, I may get a bit more worked up because in real life there's like more intense emotions. But eventually I'm like, you know what? I'm done. Like I've said what I need to say. Like if you're not gonna like listen to me, there's no point in further conversing. So I'd say it's pretty similar to be honest.
If you had somebody that came up to you now in February of 2020, 2023, and said, you know, what advice would you have for me? I'm trying to get into cosplay and I'm trying to grow on social media. Do you have a specific advice that you would give to somebody that's just starting off like right now?
Yes. Um, 'Cause I talk about growth and like fun versus work, um, self worth, and all that stuff. So if someone came to me and was talking about growing, I actually did have someone recently who reached out and said like, "Hey, I'm just getting into cosplay. Do you have any tips for me?" And his goal was to like get bigger. Um, and honestly, I told him first to focus on actually enjoying it because it's fine to like want to do cosplay as a job. It's fine to like want to like grow as a content creator. Um, but I think for most people, if you're trying to make fun content, you need to be able to have some sort of positive grounding in the thing you do. Because when you don't, that's how I see all these cosplayers who end up quitting after a year. All these content creators who like, I only got like 1,000 views after 6 months. I'm done. Because they don't,
The burnout of
yeah,
it all.
they have the burnout. They don't have the actual passion for it, which is fine. But I don't think people realize like that's what keeps me going, and that's what keeps a lot of other people going. It's not because it's easy. It's because even if I get 500 views, I'm still gonna work my butt off and film 3 hours one night and edit for 8 hours and put out the video that I had in my head. Um, so I think like if you're doing cosplay and you actually like that's not 100% a job, you need to like focus on having a little bit of fun first. Don't worry about the numbers. Worry about getting comfortable, and finding an energy to push through the hard times when they finally come.
Wow. What's your favorite cosplay that you've done so far?
It's Nanami, but I think Hakari is my second favorite. They're pretty close, but
Yeah.
Nanami is like so um just monumental. Like he changed like the way like I cosplayed. He changed like the way people view me as a cosplayer. Um, yeah.
Yeah, because that's really what like even further projected you was that
Hmm.
cosplay and the transitions, like they were so, to me they're flawless, they're just
Thank you.
amazing. And then I was like, look at him thirst trapping everybody. Okay, I see you. Like, did you know that was that planned thirst trapped, or was that like a, oh, I didn't mean to thirst trap, but now that you guys are here, let me continue this.
I'm so glad someone finally asked me this on an interview. So I was oblivious. Nobody believes me. I had no idea for the longest time that I was thirst trapping. I was 100% just staying in character. But because he is so cool and calm and confident,
Mhm.
people find that attractive. And I actually made like a little TikTok on him. Like I wasn't trying to be sexy. Like he just is because that's what people want, especially um, like especially not either people who don't identify as men or people who are attracted to men. Like a lot of them were who were fanboying were not at me, because he was like respectful, he was strong, he was sensitive. Behind that hard exterior, he was very passionate about children.
Mhm.
um, and so I think like later on I started playing around with like the thirst trap stuff. But even then, like there were times when I really wasn't. My friends would be like, "I see you thirst trapping." Like I was just I remember I didn't know that for the longest time I didn't know suits were attractive, and I didn't know I didn't know that untying your tie was like a thing. Um, so like I was just doing it to stay in character, and people were like leaving comments. I was like, I was just untying my tie. And they're like, yeah, it's really hot. I was like, okay.
I think there were a couple that I sent you like the eyes emoji, like, hold
Oh,
on a
yeah.
second, what's going on here? And then you would just send like the blushing, like smiling emoji. I'm like, look at this. Because, like I
Yeah.
said, I've had the honor to watch you grow. So, like, it
Mhm.
threw me off. Like, I'm going through my feed, and there you are. And I'm like, wait a second. Like, he's thirst trapping people. Okay, I see you leveling up your game.
Yeah.
I love it. It's great. Like, you love to see it. Yeah, and then I went into the comments to see like all the positive and like heart eyes emojis. And I was like, look at him. Look at him coming into his own. So I was just wondering if it was like a legit trap or was it like an accidental trap and you were like, this is a thing.
Yeah, every now and then, like some of it will be on purpose, but like a good chunk of it is staying in character. But now like I'm more conscious about it, so I'm like, dang, I know I look good there. Like it was not intentional, but I know it's going to be a trap.
I love the confidence now too. I like that you're
Yeah,
like, "Ooh, wait a second, I do look good." Up it goes, uploaded it goes.
yeah.
Now, how important is consistency in the TikTok game?
mm,
Or are
well,
you consistent? Like when you do your uploads, are you consistent?
no. So I was about to say consistency is important, but I don't value it. um, so ever since I was creating content back in like I think I started making videos specifically in like 10th grade, so like 20 or 2009, 2010. I just made videos whenever I wanted. I would look up on how to get more views, how to grow on YouTube and stuff. And a very big thing was consistency, or at least like a very big thing that people are defining now is cadence, not necessarily posting like like 5 videos every week or 5 videos a month or something, but more like having a specific day that you know you're going to post, like every Tuesday, Thursday, um, or something like that. Because cadence not only kind of helps with just keeping you on track for the algorithm, but it also gives people a way to know when you're going to post. So they like look forward to it, and they're more likely to look out for when you do it. But so far, video has been more of a passion and a hobby and an outlet for me than it has been a job. Like in the past and recently, I've had like small jobs every now and then, but it's still been something I do when I feel like. So for me, I don't value consistency and cadence, although I teach it to people when they ask me what to do. So I just do whatever, whenever. Um, and I think that's also why my quality is good because I don't try to rush things, unless it's like I have constraints with my cosplay, like the weather
Mhm.
or an outfit that's available. But if it's something like recently Lero's birthday's coming up, and I was gonna do his cosplay, but I wasn't quite ready. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna skip his birthday. Like I'm not gonna post on it, but I'm gonna have some solid videos afterwards because I care about the quality of that video more than I do trying to rush something just for the views.
How do you balance work life, cosplay, content creating, and a personal life? How do you balance all three of these?
um, it's kind of bad, but I make it work because like after the pandemic, a lot of my friendships kind of dwindled out. And also like a lot of my friends don't live here anymore. Like the
Mm,
ones I really enjoy live either a city away, so it's hard to plan things, or they live like out of state or out of country. So I spend a lot of my time making content now. Um, but I kind of just like, yeah, I think that's part of it. I do have a lot of like online friends that we're constantly messaging each other, and the nice thing about that is that there's flexibility, so you can message them whenever you want. Um, but it does get hard. Like when there are times when I used to like train Taekwondo as well, when I had friends who did live here, and I was planning things. Scheduling is a big thing. So like I told you earlier, I don't just like really just do videos. I have to schedule. So
Mhm.
I will schedule right now. I have probably like a month in advance of planning what
Oh,
kind of
wow.
videos I want to do. That way, like when I want to hang out with my friends, like, oh yeah, I can like hang out this day. Or I know that I'll need to like do some sort of like shopping for a birthday or whatever. So honestly, planning, but also sometimes it just sucks. Like sometimes you're just not gonna sleep as much. Like I do try to be healthy, but sometimes you can't. Like that's the reality of it. I don't like we never I was talking to a friend, we never promote like unhealthy living. But when
Mhm.
you are working 40 hours a week and you want to be passionate about content creation and you want to maybe work out, hang out with friends, something is gonna have to like slip inside every now and then.
I've had that similar situation when everything first started. So back like 2017 when people were starting to content create and stream and stuff like that. I was working two jobs. I'm a mom
Ooh.
and I was sacrificing sleep. And
Hmm.
that was like the worst thing I could have possibly sacrificed. I should have sacrificed eating. But sleep was definitely the worst thing. And I burned out really bad to the point where I took 2 years off. Um,
Hmm.
so I understand having learning to balance what works for you personally, because obviously, what works for you may not work for me and vice versa because, we're two different people.
Right.
So yeah, it definitely, but you value more the quality over the quantity, um, which I think for me personally is better. I know I
Hmm.
shouldn't be saying things like that, but it's better because you're putting the time and effort again to entertain us. And it's not so much about here's five, crappy cosplay videos. Here's two really great, really stellar cosplay videos. Did you know right away that you were like, no, 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 I want quality over quantity and I want quality over sacrificing, posting every day or three times a day as some people do?
I think it's always kind of been like that for me. Since I was like, I used to be an artist, like I drew and painted, I played music, I did martial arts. All those things are kind of like known to be very like detail oriented and kind of like pushing towards getting better and better. So I think, and I also like I was very much into science. And I went to school for physiology, and so there was like always talking about like getting the least amount of percent error. So I think that also kind of rubbed off on me. So I think always I've just been wanting to do things the right way, um, and not worrying about having to appeal to others and sacrifice my own happiness and satisfaction. That's partly why um, like I didn't like I don't do this as like a full job because I haven't been rushing to um make this a job until I had the ability to do it the way I wanted. Because 3 years ago I was doing other types of content. Like I was doing, or I guess like 4 years now. 4 years ago, I was doing a lot more like filming dancers, martial artists, trickers, which I still would love to do. But it wasn't something that really like sold that much or got that many views. And so I knew like if I wanted to like become a content creator then, I'd have to do a lot more things I wouldn't like doing, like filming, I don't know, like children's football games, like boring to me, or just like filming random animals. Like animal photography is cool, but I wouldn't want to like do that for views. Um, so I kind of just like I always knew that I wanted this space, my outlet, my art, my photography, my video, my cosplay, to always be something that I do for me and not something that someone else takes from me.
Ooh. Ooh, I like that. You got a lot of great little gems of wisdom and you're like an old soul. Has anybody ever told you that you're like an old
Yes.
soul? So I was lucky enough to be scrolling on TikTok when I got the notification that you and Todd Two-Way, right? It's Todd
Oh yeah,
Two-Way
yeah, yeah. Mhm.
were live. And I was like, there's no way these two are live together, like at the
Right.
same time. And I say that because I respect you guys. And I know this is gonna sound like I'm kissing butt or blowing smoke up your butt, but you already know because I've sent you messages of how much I've admired your work. But you and Todd and Venture Brothers, you guys are like
Oh yeah.
top tier male cosplayers that are my favorites.
Hmm.
So when I saw you guys, I was like, "Oh, I'm dropping literally everything I'm doing. I'm joining this live to listen and hear what you guys are talking about because you guys definitely, to me, are top tier with the amazing effort that you guys put into cosplaying. And there
Hmm.
was something that was said that struck me as interesting and fascinating. And I typed in the question and I prayed that it didn't come off the wrong way because I was genuinely interested. And the topic was Black cosplayer versus just being called a cosplayer. And I
Hmm.
had asked, can't you be both? And I would love if you could please elaborate on
Hmm.
that discussion, if you don't mind, because I myself am fascinated and interested in Black cosplayer versus being both.
Hmm. All right. I'll try and make sure this is like not too short, but concise and not
Mhm.
too rambly because I have thought about this a lot. Um, and so it's quite um, nuanced. That sounds so generic, but it is. So there is this idea of black cosplayers. There's some cosplayers who don't ever want to be called a black whatever. Like never call them black Nanami, never call them black Mirko. They're just Mirko. They're just Nanami. They're just Leorio. Um, and then there are other cosplayers who take characters and like, yeah, I'm gonna make them black. I'm gonna add curls. I'm gonna add melanin. I'm gonna add hip hop. I'm gonna do whatever. And then there are some other cosplayers who kind of don't care. And so like the baseline behind all of that is like it does vary depending on who you're talking to. So I don't think there is going to be a universal right or wrong.
Okay.
At the same time, I think Todd and I were agreeing on we personally don't like when people um there's like a certain tone to it when they're like, ooh, black spike, that actually works. It's like more condescending, or it's like they kind of forget all the things we're doing and they just look at their skin tone. And then we're just isolated to just being a black version of a character. Um and that's different than like someone like purposely like changing a character and making it more afro, um and then being elevated for that versus like only people like focusing on them being black. So I think that's what we were kind of getting at. um but again, it kind of varies. Like I personally like I could hear, so I'll give an example. I could hear someone be like, "Oh, we love Black Anime," and then like it, it feels fine to me. But it also depends on like if they say like, "Oh, Black Anime that actually works," it still has like that condescending tone. Like even though they're the same message, they're not really the same message. Um, so yeah, like I'm also at the same time very proud of being black and know that I'm black. Like there's nothing that's going to change that. So I'm always going to be a black cosplayer regardless. And that's also going to influence some of my cosplays. Like my Gojo cosplay was based off of um wow, I forgot his the Soul King, an artist, was based off of his concept where he added twist to Gojo's hair. And I was like, oh shoot, I can do that too. So that was using my blackness to add to a character. Or my afro that was growing, that was using my blackness to add to Spike Spiegel. Um, but other characters like Nanami, there wasn't really anything I was trying to make black. It was just like I was just there. Um, so I think the most important thing for all of that is the intent and what you're trying to get out of those labels and how much you're limiting people to those labels or using those labels to add to them.
I like that. You see, because after that conversation, and I had asked the question, and you answered it, and I'm very grateful for that. It actually stuck with me for a while, a couple of days, and I started self-reflecting. It was more like the self-reflecting because um, I dabble in cosplay. Again, I'm not a
Mhm,
professional, but I am a interviewer and a gamer, a very, heavy gamer. And it was like, am I a gamer or am I a Latina gamer? Am I both? Like, what do I
mhm,
consider myself? And it was like a deep reflection. And I know that the conversation might not have meant to be that heavy, but for me, it
mhm.
made an impact because I was like, have I been like saying things wrong?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, man, I hope I'm not out there offending people. But then now that you've elaborated, it makes complete sense.
Mhm,
Right? You are a cosplayer, you are a Black cosplayer, but your cosplays themselves, depending on the intent and then depending on the way. So I appreciate you elaborating on that and educating us on that as well, because it's important to know that you're not different from anybody else as far as the time and effort that you're putting into these cosplays.
mhm.
Yes, the cosplays that you're doing are different from everybody else, but as far as, having that, for lack of a better word, segregation of it all,
Mhm.
you're not, you're putting in the time, you're putting in the effort, you're respecting the craftsmanships that go into cosplaying. Um, So thank you so much for elaborating on that. I appreciate it a
Yeah.
lot. Um,
Yeah.
is there a new cosplay that you're working on that you can share with us? I love an
Yes.
exclusive.
So, Lloyd is like he's not much of a secret, but I'm working on him. I think I need like gloves and something else, but basically I'm waiting until roughly summertime because I'm gonna cut and dye my hair and like it's gonna be like all out for Lloyd.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, because I really envisioned him just like being an all out cosplay, and the hair wax wasn't really working out. So I'm hoping to do him, and then also I'm gonna kind of do like a revamped anatomy. Well, it's not like revamped, it's like just having the hair now, and do some more content with him. And then I'm working on maybe a Lloyd X anatomy cosplay. Um, so like in a little action video where I blend the characters together in their
Ooh.
outfits. Um, I should have Joker from Fire Force done by hopefully in 2 weeks,
My
so I can
husband
be
will be
ready.
happy. He's a huge Fire Force
Oh,
fan, so
awesome.
he'll be excited about that. He's one of the ones that I'm like, look what he did, and I'm like smacking him in the face with like, look at this cosplay. So he's turned into a huge fan of yours as well. And mostly because of that Spike cosplay. I was like, oh,
Awesome.
look at this, because I'm a huge Cowboy Bebop fan. So Lloyd, and then which one from Fire Force?
Joker. He's the one
Joe.
who like has the fire cards. Um, I'm nervous because I still need to figure out how to like fix his wig. That's gonna be the hardest part. Like everything else, I pretty much have. Like the contacts, I just need to get his little tie thing. And I have a mutual who I've been talking with and discussing the design to like create a custom eye cover. So that's really fun. And then potentially Dazai, that one I keep forgetting to like get a jacket for. And then I'm thinking of Kira from JoJo's either probably like late this year, depending on my budget,
Oh
because
wow.
I'm
So
gonna get
you
a photo shoot
have
for that.
you yeah, so you've got a few of them planned out, huh?
Yeah.
That's exciting. Where do you go to get your supplies and your outfits? Is there a specific place or from wherever you can find it?
Um, Honestly, wherever. It used to be J.C. Penney, and it was like kind of a joke because I would always shop there, not because like I would post them like for fun, but I really didn't think they would ever notice me. I just happened to go there because it was like it was accessible, it was easy, they had sales, I felt comfortable going there. But as I started to like grow and learn about fashion and stuff, like I would start to go to other stores, search online, learn about like actual like fashion terminology. Like the Lloyd suit was a custom suit. I got it done. Um, I like this suit shop in town. It was like an hour-long consultation, I think, or maybe a bit longer. And we went through like all the details. I learned all these words and stuff. So, um, yeah, for Joker, for example, um, I think some of it's from like Amazon, like certain stores, like Amazon specific stores. Some of it's from some random websites I just like happen to find looking for specific objects, like hours and hours. Some of it is stuff I've had. So it's just like a blend of like everything I've been learning about fashion, I guess.
I laughed when you mentioned the JC Penney, because I saw like the TikToks and the comments where they were trying to do the mini campaign to get JC
Yes.
Penney's to sponsor you or send you suits and send. I'm like, oh my God, yes, they definitely need to. So I
Yeah.
didn't know how often you shopped there, but I was like, oh, I like this mini campaign for him. So how
Yeah, I
much
used
fun was
to
that seeing the comments like that? And then people were
it
like,
was
JC Penney.
it was hilarious. I used to go to JC Penney a lot. Um and I'm trying to think of how I think when I was first trying to find the suit, that's where I went, and I got lucky because the anatomy suit I wanted was like on sale. And little did I know it was like going out of commission is the word maybe. It was like not going to be sold again. Um, so I got super lucky like just finding that perfect suit and on sale. I was like, oh well, because I was gonna like check out further stores. I was like, oh no, I need to buy this now. And so I
Yeah,
just took the
yeah.
risk and bought it,
And it
and I
worked
loved it.
out.
So yeah.
It did. I like that your story seems like it's very much stars align for you.
hmm
Um, are you do you think like that? You know, stars aligning and affirmations and everything happens for a reason. What kind of uh I guess mentality do you have when it comes to these kinds of things? I know a lot of it is, result of your hard work. I never want to take that away from you,
hmm
because, like I've said, I've been privileged to see your growth, so I know the time and effort that you put into it, but how much of it do you also know that it's like the stars aligned for me on this particular project?
So I keep forgetting there's like a psychologist who has this phrase. But basically the concept I still remember. It's that the outcomes that you have available are like partially how much work you put in and partially like you being able to like partially like the opportunity coming to you. And the more work you put into like preparing and being open to receiving those things, the more likely you'll be able to actually grasp those. And on top of that, there was recently a study that came out that said like luck is a trainable skill, because luck is more like observation and the ability to catch on to an opportunity. So that's how I feel like I've been for a very long time, actually. Like, like, it feels like I'm lucky, but at the same time, it feels like I just notice things and I, like, plan for things. So, like like, the Nanami suit, I think part of that was, like, I already, like, looked into what his suit was like. Um, I mapped out places to go, um, and, I was just, like, very articulate and detail oriented and knew what colors I wanted and all that stuff. So when I saw it, I was kind of like, "Oh, like, all that work paid off. Like now I know exactly what I'm looking for. I just happen to see it. I'm gonna take that opportunity." Um, Same with like other cosplays like Hakari or Leorio. I actually I was like, oh yeah, it's a holiday. I'm gonna go check JCPenney just to see if something's on sale because I know it's a holiday. And also I've been looking for a blue suit. Um, and I think I really want to like check out Valerio. And then it happens to be that blue suit was on sale. But it's because I had been like thinking about it and like planning about it and like I learned about holidays and having sales on those days. Um, so I think like definitely I see things and I'm like, that's a very solid sign I'm just gonna strike. So I kind of like wait out for things, but I also like I kind of just make space for things to come to me and like observe.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. I didn't know what your philosophy was with it because it the way you talk with the experiences and things that have happened to you, it does sound like stars align for you. But again, I never want to take away from the hard work that you put into the videos, the editing, the cosplay itself. So it's uh a lot of hard work and time and effort into it.
Yeah.
Did the martial arts training help with that? Because I know martial arts is
Mm,
very intense in a way, and it's structured too. So
mhm. Honestly, I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like I learned a lot of things from martial arts, but maybe not that one.
okay.
Um, but yeah, I do. I also just like going back to that. I just remember like everything I do could at some point like cause something else in the future. Like I remember one time I was filming like martial arts videos, and I did like a random like. Do you remember the song "Happy" by Pharrell?
Mhm,
I did like a trend to that, and then like months later, that ended up me that I mean that got me on the news because they're like, "Oh my gosh, your video went viral in the city." I'm like, "Oh," and then from there, I started just thinking about like you never know who's going to see your videos.
mhm,
So like when I do sponsored posts, I work really hard on those. Partly because it's like it's cool to be like, "Oh, cool, a sponsored post." It's a great way to like show a different side of me, but also that sponsored post is not only a sponsored post; it's an example. Like if someone else sees you and like, I wonder what other work he's when there were other work he's done before, they can be like, "Oh wow, he like really does his stuff. He knows his stuff." Or when I work on my videos, I also do it for myself, but also I know like you never know who's gonna be like, "Oh, well, I want to like use him for like a post, or I want to work with him. I want to team up with him." So that even that, it's just me like planning things out and knowing that maybe that could lead to another opportunity. Um, so then someone's like, "Oh, wow, you're so lucky you got that opportunity." Like, actually, I was working hard like 5 years prior. And finally just kind of paid off.
mhm. Yeah, that overnight success, feel to things is not a real overnight success, right? A lot of
Yeah.
people think that, if somebody came to your page now and they're like, "Oh my god, he's like an overnight success." No, like I've said, I've been able to watch you grow, so I know how long, it took you and how much you was doing behind that. So
Mhm.
the idea of the overnight success is I don't know why people usually think that, like, the overnight
Right?
success, but there's a lot of years behind that overnight success, you know? So, what do you has anybody ever said to you, like, "Oh my god, you got so lucky overnight," type of thing?
Yeah, especially when I first started TikTok, like the first year and a half, people are like, "Oh my gosh, you're like so good. You've only been making content for a year and a half." I'm like, "No, I've only been on TikTok for a year and a half. I've been making content for the past like 10 years." And that's why like I know how to make transitions. That's why I know about basic lighting. That's why I do other stuff. Like I was a martial artist for like 14, 15 years prior. So I'm not just like throwing kicks randomly. Like I used to fight people and now I'm using that for like for entertainment or like the musicality I use in my edits sometimes. It's not just because I just happen to do it. Like I played music and I understood feeling and emotion. I translate that over to my edits. So there's a lot of things that I think I mentioned this with Todd Way. He and I both we were other things before we were cosplayers.
Mhm.
And we cosplay was kind of like just the next step in our journey.
People tend to forget that you have other skills, you have other talents, you were well established as far as living before you got on TikTok because TikTok is only been around for how many years and you've been
Yeah.
a lot around longer than TikTok. Um, do you prefer TikTok over Instagram or do you treat them both pretty much the same?
Hmm. It goes back and forth. It used to be that YouTube was like my main place. And then like I grew into Instagram. I was like, "Ah, I don't like it." And then I loved Instagram. Partly because it was both a way for me to post, but also a way for me to interact with people more. And then TikTok came along, and then I had the most growth on there. Um, and it brought me the most opportunities. But then TikTok kind of got stagnant. And so like growth isn't really like a big thing, and opportunities are like eh. But Instagram started growing. But also people started talking there. So it kind of goes back and forth. It
Mm,
depends, I guess, on the cycle, if you will. But I do feel like TikTok is still going to be like my main focus for now. It feels like my base platform. But Instagram's still like it's still pretty awesome. But now I'm also getting really into Twitter because then I can like actually just communicate with people.
oh,
Um, and that's like super nice because it doesn't have to be attached to like any sort of content or anything. I could just say whatever. Um, so yeah, I think in general, all of them have things I really do like about them, but TikTok will still be like my like I think that's how people like found me and know me.
okay. Well, all right. I've taken up enough of your time. Um, RJ, I just can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk to me, enlighten me, and show everybody, for those that don't even know who you are, which I would imagine they're living underneath a rock at this point. So I appreciate you so, so much. Let me shut this down and then I'll be right back. Guys, I put all the links to find RJ and his amazing cosplays and the links in the description below. So go give him a follow and I'll see you guys next week. Bye, everyone.